Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. This is Friday, March 20th, 2020, and I am, thank you so much for joining me with Art with Miss Myra. I hope everyone's doing well today, and I'm really excited about today's project. This is Fun Friday, and we are going to be doing a really fun project today. So I'm assuming that most of you kids have done watercolor painting. And watercolor painting is really a lot of fun, but today we're going to do a watercolor project that is just a little bit different than your traditional watercolor painting, okay? So what I'm talking about is we're going to do a watercolor painting, and we're going to add a special ingredient to it to kind of change the effect of how the watercolor looks on our paper, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to add salt. And so yesterday when I gave you the things that we are going to need for our project today, I told you that we are going to be using watercolor paints and just regular table salt and our paper. And then of course we have to have water and stuff to do our projects. So if you have all of those supplies gathered up, we're ready to start our project for the day, okay? And I want to show you a painting that I did using this technique so you guys can get a little better idea of what it looks like, okay? And this is my painting, and it's just an abstract painting, which means that there isn't, it's really no rhyme or reason to the colors, okay? It's just colors that I thought were pretty, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing abstract paintings that we're going to be adding salt to, and then after it's dry, we're going to brush the salt off, and then see, we get this really fun, cool effect. I don't know if you guys can see this. See these little bubbles and stuff in here? That is from the salt, and it adds just a really unique texture, a really unique look to our painting, and that's what we want to go for and stuff with this kind of a painting, okay? So if you have all of your supplies gathered, we're going to get started. And I wanted to mention one thing. I have kind of struggled this week and stuff with my camera to get good shots of things that I was working on the table. And I'm really happy to let you guys know that my friend Randy picked me up a tripod today. So I will have that on Monday when we have class, and I can't wait for that. So thank you very much, Randy, for picking that up. I appreciate it. But for now, we're just going to have to, you're going to have to kind of bear with me a little bit. I'm going to pick up the phone, and I'm going to try to flip it around, and so you can see exactly what I'm working on the table, and then we'll get started. Okay, and so there is my my paper that I have, and I didn't have any watercolor painting or watercolor paper. So if you don't have watercolor paper at home, that's okay. You can just use white, either construction paper, or if you have white printer paper, ask an adult in your household if that's okay, if you have some of that paper, and those papers are okay for you to use too, okay? The technique that we're going to be doing today is called wet on wet watercolor, okay? And what I mean by that is, what we're going to do first of all is we're going to wet down our paper, and then we're going to apply our watercolor to the wet paper. And that allows it to kind of be a subtle painting, okay? It's a subtle texture, it's a subtle colors, and the colors more easily then bleed together. And that's kind of what we want in this. So I just have a little 1-inch sponge brush that I'm going to use, but any kind of brush that you have to use is fine. So what we're going to do first, or what I'm going to do first, is I'm just going to go ahead and get that sponge brush wet, and then I'm going to start putting a little bit of water on this. And I want it to be pretty wet, but not soaking wet, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and we wanna work kind of quickly with this technique, you know, because we're going for a specific effect, and that is that subtle blending of our colors. And so we're gonna go ahead. Okay, so that's probably wet enough. And if there's some areas that are wetter than others, that's okay. So, and you notice I took masking tape and taped around the edge of my paper, and I did that on this painting too, and it just gives it a nice finished look. So, all right, and I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna, one thing I wanna add to kids is when you are doing watercolor painting, it's really nice to see how that flows. It just flows on the paper. So we want to prime our colors, okay? And how we do that, how we prime our colors is before we get ready to use them, we are going to go ahead into our palette and we're just gonna dip it in the water a little bit before we start painting, about 5 minutes or so before, and we're going to just wet that down a little bit, okay? And that helps a lot, you know, with getting them active and ready to go ahead and be ready to use, you know, the paints. So, and I'm gonna kind of do what I did on this painting up here and stuff. I'm going to just kind of make some lines here. And I'm getting kind of almost an ombre effect with this. So now I'm gonna be going into the orange. You guys can do whatever colors you like. Whatever kind of color combination you think looks beautiful, okay? And remember, you know, former students of mine have commented many times that I have made the comment in my classes numerous times that art is what you think is beautiful. My idea of what I think is beautiful might be very different than yours, but you know what? It's all good, because if you're the one making it, it's important what you think. And if you think it's beautiful, then you should do that. Okay. And I hope everyone is getting out today and enjoying the nice weather. It's very nice outside. I've already taken my dog Daisy out for a walk today, and she had so much fun. And she didn't want to come inside. So she not only likes the snow, she likes the warm weather too. And you see how I'm working kind of quickly, because we want to put that salt on before this starts to dry. And I'm just dipping in my water and dipping out into my paint and going with that. So and I guess this is going to be kind of a rainbow effect that we're doing. So I didn't have that idea in my head when I started out, but that's kind of how it's turning out. So I am just going to go with it. And if I want to go back in and blend some colors together, I can just go ahead and make my brush a little bit wet and then do that. So All right. So now, since I have all my paint down, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the salt. And I just have that in a bowl over here. And I'm just going to add it a little bit. You don't have to put it on very heavily. You just put it on, you know, a little bit. And it just creates this really unique effect after it's dry. And I want to make sure and get it kind of all over, so all of my different colors get a little bit. Okay, and there you go. That is my watercolor painting that I have done as a wet on wet watercolor, and then I have added salt to it, and it's going to create a really organic an interesting effect on it after it's all dry. When it is all dry, after it's dry for about an hour, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to brush that off, and then I'm going to be left with these really cool almost kind of bubbles and stuff like I got on my painting this morning. So all right, okay, so I'm going to flip myself back around here so I can talk to you a little bit. So, and that is how we do that. And so I hope that you've all had fun doing this project today. It's a very quick and easy project. Hopefully everyone has watercolors at home and you were able to do that project. So a couple of things that I wanted to mention for the moms and dads or the grandmas and grandpas that are watching this. I just wanted to tell you that I will have my YouTube channel up over the weekend, and then that I will still be posting on Facebook, and then I'll go ahead after the Facebook Live is out there, I will go ahead and post that video of that day and stuff up on my YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel is going to be called Art with Miss Myra. And then I have decided also that every week on Saturday by 3 o'clock, I will go ahead and I will list the things that we will be doing the next week and the supplies that we're going to need for those projects. So that's just a little way of you know, you guys being prepared, and you can start gathering those supplies and be ready for class for the next week. So I hope that works out for everybody. So, but thank you everyone for joining me today. I sure appreciate it. A big shout out to all the homeschool families too that are joining me. I've had so many comments from homeschool families that are you know, watching the lessons and doing the lessons, and I really appreciate that. And you know, another shout out too and stuff to my local public school kids. The schools have you know, been very open to, you know, and sharing with their families that I'm doing these lessons, and I sure appreciate that. So big shout out to both of those groups. So, but everyone have a really nice weekend, and I will see you all back on Monday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time for Art with Miss Myra, and we'll see you later. Bye.